Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the cabin. I've got 3 tips on woodworking that I'd like to share. So whether you're trying to build an off-grid homestead like we are, if it's a backyard project, or just a simple DIY, I think the very first tip that should be is a plan. So most of the jobs that I've had in my life either had a rule book to follow or they actually had a set of blueprints if I was working construction on being able to follow. So the first thing that I want to talk about, like I said, was a plan. This is where I actually sat down and drew out all the measurements for the cabin. Not only did I know where each piece went, but I also knew the measurement. So just by having a plan, having it all laid out, and having it in front of you certainly makes the job a whole lot easier. So it doesn't matter whether you mill your lumber like we do, whether you buy it from a sawmill, or whether you get it from a lumber yard. That brings us to the second tip. All right, the second tip that I want to talk about is just basic tools. Most of the tools that you see right here built this homestead. I had a skill saw, I had a jigsaw, I had a slow speed or half-inch drill, I had a different type of drill, which this is a hammer drill, a couple of squares, one of them being plastic, a Harbor Freight tape measure, Harbor Freight hammer, a set of Harbor Freight drill bits, and a couple of Harbor Freight levels. This one being the one I use the most, 6-footer, because when you're using long timbers like I do, you need to be able to reach way up and be able to make sure that it's level. As you can see right here, 3 other tools that I have used quite frequently on every building that I've done here is a shovel, a set of post hole diggers, and a mattock. We have actually dug every hole here by hand on the homestead for every building that we have done. The other tool that we have used quite a bit, and actually on every building here, is a propane tank and basically a weed burner, because we have burnt all the wood on every building that we have done here on the homestead, because not only does it help to preserve it longer, but it also looks so good when it's done and you put some sort of oil or protectant covering over it. Just makes all the difference. So folks, let me share with you some of the things we've done here on the homestead. We've built our own sawmill, we've built a woodshed, we've built our own outdoor toilet, we have built our own outdoor kitchen, we've built our own chicken house, we have our own hog pen, we added a communication tower, we added our own smokehouse, we're building our own new barn and workshop area, and we've built our own cabin. So folks, as you can see, it doesn't really take a whole lot, but the third item, and probably one of the most important, was the need for power right here. When we first moved up here, we contacted the power company. They wanted like $10,000 to set a few poles, bring power up here, all for the privilege of giving them another $100 to $200 a month on an electric bill. So the first thing that we did was we purchased this generator right here, which has become invaluable. I've used this over the last 3 years here on the homestead. Bought it online. It actually had $100 off because it had a broken motor mount, which was listed. We fixed the motor mount, and like I said, we've used it over the last 3 years building everything that we have done up here at the homestead. So this is the third tip, is to be able to have some source of power, whether it's plugging in or whether it's using a generator like this, to be able to use the corded tools to build your project. So folks, what's the cost of all this? Honestly, there's about $1,000 to $1,200 worth of tools laying here, which is primarily the basics that we have used to build everything here on the homestead. So it doesn't cost that much in order to be able to achieve your dream. One more set of tools that you're going to need if you're going to do timber framing, but if you're not, because you can always do post and beam with lag bolts and brackets and things of that nature. But if you want to do the timber framing, you're going to need a set of chisels. Now, my neighbor actually made these for me. What I'm going to show you here probably would run you about $500 if you bought them online, but you're going to need a slick, which is basically a big plane. This is 3 inches wide. You're going to need a corner chisel right here, which is a 90-degree angle to make sure and get your corners square. And then you're going to need what they call a timber chisel right here, which starts out at about 1.5 inches, long enough to get down into the mortises that you're going to make. And then the other thing that I made was a 1-inch chisel that I use quite frequently, getting down into the fine details. Basically, I repurposed this head, but I built the handle and everything else. And like I said, in order to be able to get these, probably run you about $500, but that's only if you're going to do timber framing. So being self-sufficient is very rewarding and very satisfying, although it's not easy, but I think it's the journey and the steps that you take that make it so satisfying. Just basically the determination and the motivation to become the captain of your own ship and to be able to carve out a life with your own hands. That actually becomes a testament to your determination to live a more simple, less complicated lifestyle knowing that you did it all. So folks, it doesn't take much but a little determination and motivation to get out there and do it. You know, this is a brand new year, 2023, and I want to challenge you to make the difference this year to get out there and make your dreams come true. So folks, thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you back up at the cabin again next time.